Okay, welcome once again. On popular demand, I am going to talk about personal information questionnaire so that the candidates who are going to SSB can fill this form properly and then have a better chance in selection. Now this form is filled on the first day for the psychologist and the interviewing officer. Therefore, you are filling 2 copies of it. Now, the psychologist uses this form for finding any contradictions or validating a personality vis-a-vis the activities you have done and the kind of marks that you've scored in your academics, the kind of socio-economic background that you have had. Wherein the interviewing officer uses this form to get to know the candidate better so that he can ask questions which are relevant to the life events of the candidate. For example, what kind of city or town or village has the candidate grown up? What kind of schooling has he had or she has had? What kind of subjects has the candidate chosen? And what has been his efforts in his academics and what has been the results. In addition, the interviewing officer will dwell in detail on sports and hobbies and extracurricular activities, all that he can only know when the candidate has filled his form properly. And therefore, this personal information questionnaire plays a vital role in the overall selection of the candidate. The GTO does not get this form. So what I did was, instead of just doing para by para on this form, I asked a candidate of mine to fill this form without telling her the details or do's and don'ts of the personal information questionnaire. Thereafter, I gave her a fresh copy of the form, sat with her and ensured that she fills the form properly. In addition, I have spoken about various candidates coming from different backgrounds, or those who have taken NCC, those who have not taken NCC. If at all I have left out something, please note my WhatsApp number and you can WhatsApp me if you have any query. I will answer them through WhatsApp. You can also talk about in the comment section whether I have been able to live up to your expectation by connecting with you through YouTube videos. Let's go on with filling the form. So today we have with us Kanupriya Avasthi, who has joined us recently, and she's going to give her personal interview. Before giving her personal interview, she has to fill a personal information questionnaire, which is PIQ form. So I requested her that she should fill the PIQ form in front of me so that whatever are the doubts that come in her mind can be resolved by me, and also some of the doubts which usually candidates get in their mind while they are filling in the PIQ form, they can be resolved by me while she is filling the PIQ form with us. So over to Kanupriya.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I would like to know what do we exactly have to fill in the selection board part and the batch number, also the chest number.
Okay. So when you start with your PIQ form, the first thing is the OIR on the right, and this particular aspect would be filled in by the service selection board, so you don't have to bother. The OIR is Officers Intelligence Rating Test rating, which would be 1, 2, 3 and so on. So that would be filled in by them. Our video on this is already there, saying in which we have explained in detail how we can solve the OIR questions properly and the various types of questions that they come. And then when you have come to para 1 would be to the board that you are going. If you are going to say 21 service selection board, then you would write 21 SSB Bhopal.
Okay.
And then of course you'll write the batch number, and batch number would be the batch number which will be allotted to you after you report there. It could be UGN or UDN 512, whatever. And then of course you will be given a chest number which you will be wearing. The chest number are given twice. Once before you appear in the screening test, and after screening test you are given fresh chest numbers when you get recommended and go into stage 2. And of course your UPSC roll number would come in the last block. Okay, and then I think that one you will fill in when you reach there.
So as of now I can leave these 3 boxes.
Yes, you can leave these 3
Okay.
boxes. Okay.
The next is a name in capitals and father's name. Should I fill it?
Yes. So name in capital would be filled in by her as it is given in her 10th certificate, so that there is no mismatch between the name that she usually writes and the name that is given in her 10th certificate. And then when we go to para 2, which is her father's name, she should write her father's name, Mr. Say Amitabh Avasthi, and if her father was a serving personnel, she would have written Colonel Amitabh Avasthi or Wing Commander Amitabh Avasthi, whatever was his rank. Or if he was a sergeant, say Sergeant Amitabh Avasthi. Then coming to para 3. So you have any doubts in para 3 is over. Okay, coming to para 4.
Sir, I was just going through para 4.
Yeah.
Part A, B and C. They
Yeah.
all seem to be same.
Yes.
More
or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So am I supposed to fill the same thing in all the 3?
Yeah, please don't write ditto or do. Please fill in maximum residence. For you, it has been Bhopal, and so you have correctly filled Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, and of course, approximate population of the place. So you have filled in 18 lakhs, which is correct. Some candidates, they are unaware that they have to write approximate population of the place they belong to. They should find it out from the last census data, say 2011 data, and then write the same. Now, present residence for some students may be different because they are studying in a hostel in Delhi or say in Bangalore or working in Hyderabad. So that would be the present residence. However, the place of permanent residence is the one which you had filled in your UPSC form, which would be where in her case it is once again Bhopal only. So it again comes to Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. But those students who belong to some village or some small town, they should write the name of that small town, the district and the state in which this small town is, and also the population of that small town. So what is the significance of making you write place of residence and place of maximum residence and then permanent residence? The significance is that they want to know where you have been brought up. A candidate who has been brought up say in Delhi and a candidate who has been brought up in a small town say Hoshangabad, their upbringing will be different, and accordingly we have to give concession to this candidate who's come from Hoshangabad, that the way he answers, the kind of colloquial English that he speaks, all that will be considered by the interviewing officer as well as by the psychologist. Because as I explained earlier in my starting before we commence this video, that this form would go to 2 persons in the service selection board. One is the psychologist and the other one is your interviewing officer. Okay, shall we move on?
Yes, so the last in point C, it asks whether district headquarter or not.
Yes.
So in my case, it would be yes.
Yes. So you correctly filled in yes. And in case of students or candidates who belong to a very small place and their place is not even a district headquarter, so his exposure would be so much less, and accordingly the interviewing officer will consider that while he's accepting the answers from the candidate. Okay.
We come to the 5th point. It asks about the state and the district and then the religion.
Yeah. So that is fairly simple. because the state that you belong to is Madhya Pradesh, and the district is Bhopal, religion is Hindu. If you are not SC, ST, OBC, you can write no. Mother tongue is whatever is your mother tongue. In her case, it is Hindi. So, and then date of birth has been written in day, month, and year. And hardly any candidate would be married. So generally it would come single. But in case a candidate is married, then he would accordingly write married. Okay. And then we come to para 6.
It says parents alive, yes or no.
Yeah. So here generally people make a mistake that they score off. Instead of that, it looks much neater if you just tick it. So just tick no, and the tick should be well above the NO, because so that it does not look like a cross. So you have rightly done. Okay, let's move further.
If not alive, your age at the time of your mother's or father's death.
Yeah. So it might happen that the candidate might have lost their parents or one of the parent while he was 10 years. So whatever was the age, that part is also considered by the interviewing officer, that if a candidate has lost his parent, and then of course he has gone through a lot of trauma, and there shouldn't be any traces of the trauma now, because if there are traces of the trauma, then he has to give suitable concessions to the candidate, which how much ever he can, and not treat him like any other candidate who has both parents alive. This is a significant part for those candidates who have lost their parents. In your case, both are alive. So let's move ahead.
So we have the particulars: education, occupation, and income per month.
Yeah.
I'll start with my father.
Yeah.
He's done MA PhD.
Yes.
So is that it, or we have to specify something else as
No,
well?
I think that MA PhD would be sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah. And occupation, candidates have the habit, you can fill in that part.
Yes.
Yeah, candidates have the habit of just writing government servant. That part should be clearly mentioned, whether the father is, if he is in a private company, then is he an associate manager, vice president, whatever. In case of defense personnel, they should write the rank in which they are serving, and if they are retired, then within the brackets they can write retired. And then income per month. Some of the candidates are unaware that how much their parents earn, and some of the candidates who come from rural background, they only know yearly income of their parent. In that particular case, please divide it by 12 and write a monthly income. Just don't write your yearly income of your parent. Okay, then we can move on to mother.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Education, MA PhD again.
Yeah. And then of course once again her designation in the department that she is working in, and her income per month. Candidates do not have to write their guardian's income and education, because it does not apply to them in case their parents are alive. And then let's come to elder brother or elder sister, that column, clearly because you do not have an elder brother or sister, so you have left it blank. And then you have moved on to younger brother. So clearly she is scored of sister, so that it is very clear to the interviewing officer as well as the psychologist that her younger brother is doing BA Political Science, and he's a first year student, and he's a student and he's not having any monthly income. Okay, that's fine. Yes.
Now we have the educational record. 10th, 12th, graduation and post-graduation.
That's correct. So this would probably take a lot more time. Some student do not write full name of their school. Please write full name of school, even if you have to write very small letters. So in her case, she is from Carmel Convent School, Bhopal, and therefore it would be prudent to write Carmel Convent School, Bhopal, and her school was affiliated to CBSE, and therefore she would write CBSE. In case a student is affiliated to, say, a state board, then you would write the name of the state board. And then year of passing has to be written, and therefore she has written 2013, and she has been a very good student. I can see that she has 10 CGPA. So that has to be entered. In case you have percentage, then you can enter percentage. Medium of instruction, she was an English, she got instructions in the school in English medium, so she is written English. The next column is boarder stroke day scholar. So you were a day scholar, which means that she would go from her house daily to school, and she was not in a hostel or a PG. Yeah. Then is the last column where people usually have a doubt and they write outstanding achievement in any field. No, you have to write outstanding achievement in the field of your education. So in case you have stood first in your class, then this is where you will fill in stood first, because if you were if you had 10 CGPA, then you were first.
Yes.
So you would write first in my class or school. Yeah, first in school. Yeah, because a lot of student might have got 10 CGPA, but you were the ones who had stood first. Okay. Then we come to 10 plus 2, that is your 12th standard. Once again, Carmel Convent School, Bhopal, CBSE board. Year of passing has to be written, and in case you somebody has taken a drop, then of course there would be a gap, and therefore the interviewing officer would certainly ask that there is more than 2 years of difference between your 10th standard and 12th standard. And once again I can see that she has been a good student, and she had secured 86% marks in her 10th in her 12th. Okay. And you once again the same school, so English medium, and once again day scholar. And did you have any outstanding achievement in your 12th standard?
I was into extracurricular activities.
Okay, that have to be written in the columns ahead, that is column number 12, 11C rather, 11C. Okay, so let's come to graduation. She has to one of the prestigious institution, that is Miranda House, Delhi. So she writes Miranda House, Delhi. And of course this college was affiliated to Delhi University, so she writes Delhi University. And then year of passing, so then we write
2015 to 18.
Yeah, so she writes, because earlier you have written year of passing, so you can or you can write 2015 to 18, but year of passing would be a better way to write it. Okay, and once again then division in marks. So in case you have scored 7.27 CGPA, then you write 7.27 CGPA. The medium of instructions was English, and since you belong to Bhopal, but you were in a hostel in Delhi, so you would write boarder. Okay, and was there any outstanding achievement in field of academics in your college?
Yeah, I was awarded by ABVP for my achievements in sports.
Okay.
After that, I took part in many quizzes in Delhi, in my college and outside my college.
Those would come in sports and extracurricular activities.
I was the batch topper in first semester in my university.
That's very nice. So you can write batch topper in first semester. That can come in outstanding achievement. Okay. And then we come to post-graduation. So if somebody is pursuing post-graduation, then they would write pursuing, and in case they have completed, then they would write completed, and they would mention the university that from which they are pursuing their post-graduation, and they would write once again medium of instruction, which is say English, and if they are a day scholar, then they would write day scholar. Okay, and in case you have an achievement while doing your post-graduation in the field of academics,
yes,
so then you would write that. So I can see that you have cleared UGC NET.
Yes.
That's very nice.
In
Good.
political science.
In political science. That's very
Yes.
nice. Okay, so can we move on to para 6 now?
Para 8, sir.
Para 8,
Yes.
my mistake. Para 8 now?
Yes.
Okay, so para 8 is fairly simple. You write your age in years and months. Please don't write your date of birth, that you have already written.
Yes.
And you write your height in meters. So 1.613 meters. Okay, and you write your weight. So whatever is your weight, you can write that. So let's move on to the next page. Present occupation and personal monthly income, if any. So you are still a student, so you can write not applicable. And then we come to para 10. You have never taken NCC?
No, sir.
Okay, so students who have taken NCC can tick yes, and students who have never taken NCC will tick no. Once again, the tick should be above yes or no rather than on it, so that it does not look like a cross. And in case some student has taken up NCC, then they have to write their total training, which is 10 para B, and in that they have to write total training, which could be 2 years or 3 years. They have to write their wing, that is Army wing, Air Force wing or Naval wing, and they have to write their division, that is senior division or junior division. And if they have obtained some certificate, then they can write A certificate or B certificate or C certificate, as the case may be. Okay. Then we come to para 11. Yeah.
It talks about participation in games and sports.
Yeah. So do you have any doubts here? Because usually candidates have a lot of doubts here. You know what to write. And
so are we supposed to write whatever we have played even in school?
Yes. And some students who are very good in sports, they find the space not adequate. In that case, you can write an asterisk down below, put up an asterisk down below,
Okay.
and write para 11A and write the same columns as given in para 11A. So games and sports that you have participated in could be football, cricket, or in her case, there is speed skating.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the period of duration, that could be 2 years, 3 years. So it is much better to write like she has written 2005 to
13.
2013. Okay. And in case you have not represented your school or college, you can just put a dash there. However, there are some students who have just played casually and actually have not participated in school or college. In that particular case, you can still write played football casually, and then duration you can write 2007 to 2012 or 2010 to 2014, and then in the column where represented school or college, there you can put a dash. In case somebody has an outstanding achievement in any of these sporting activities, then they can write that particular achievement, and then move on to other games and sports. Here I would like to remind my candidates that they should write the games and sports not achievement wise but chronologically, so that the games and sport in which they have participated in year say 2005 comes up, and the games and sports in which they have participated in 2008 comes down below it. Okay. So athletics, I see that you have participated in athletics too. Please do write period of duration.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I also played badminton and kho-kho, but
Yeah.
that was
Casually.
in school. No, I played
You
in
play.
school.
Yeah, so you should write. So the only thing is that if you have played these games, then you may be asked questions on these games. So you should be thorough on the dimensions of the court and rules and regulations. Yeah. Okay. So shall we move on?
Yeah.
Any doubts you have here? We can.
I just wanted to know, like, if we have more achievements, so we can put it
Yeah.
here.
You put an asterisk down below, down the bottom of the page, and write para, so that the interviewer can know that the asterisk belongs to para 11A. So then para 11B, hobbies and interest. So
So usually students have a doubt regarding, many of them don't have a hobby or an interest
yeah.
at times. So how are they supposed to go about it?
Actually, it cannot happen that students don't have a hobby or an interest. First, let me clarify the difference between hobbies and interest. A hobby is something that we love to do on a much more regular basis, say almost daily. And an interest is something which we love to do in our spare time, but we cannot do it daily because of the nature of the activity. For example, playing guitar could be our hobby, and which we do almost daily, and we love to do it in our spare time. But trekking would come in interest. Watching movies, because we can't watch movies daily while we are students. So watching movie would be an interest. So that is the difference. Now, usually students do say that at present I don't have a hobby. Mostly at your age, there's so much work to do in the field of studies, especially competitive examination, that one does not find time to indulge in hobbies. And that is why you have a feeling that you don't have any hobbies. But to those two candidates, I would like to say that just close your eyes and think that if you have got recommended in the SSB and now the merit list is out and you have a week to spare, what would you love to do? Because you have a week to spare. Now you don't have to prepare for anything. So that week is going to come, Kanupriya.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so do think and write that. I can see that you've written outdoor activities, swimming and singing.
Too much into outdoor activities.
Too much?
Yeah, I've been like a sports person, so I like all the outdoor activities.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for a candidate who loves to be outdoors, because a job like in defense requires you to be as comfortable outdoors as you're indoors. So that is a good part. So that would work in our favor. Okay. And in case some students aren't too much of an outdoor person, it does not mean that they will not get selected. So don't be scared that you don't have an interest, and unnecessarily don't fill in your hobby and interest just to fill in that space. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the next one is extracurricular activities.
Okay.
Name of the activity, duration of participation, and outstanding achievement, if any.
Yeah. So generally students have a doubt ki what all can be put in an extracurricular activity. So something like quizzes. Don't write a short form. What is MUN?
Model United Nations.
Oh
MEN.
yes. So Model United. Were you a member, a regular member, or you just went once?
No, I was a regular member,
Okay.
and quizzing also. I was a member of the College Quiz Society.
Okay. So that's good. So write the full form, because somebody might not be aware of.
Yes.
But since this activity goes on in good colleges, it's a very healthy activity and very educative too. And so in extracurricular activities, you could write singing, dancing, quizzes, Olympiads, and painting, sketching, dramatics, whatever. So all the debates, so all those activities would be. And some of the candidates have a doubt ki if I don't have a certificate for this particular extracurricular activity, should I write it or not? I would say you should.
Yes.
You shouldn't be bothered about the certificate. As long as you are truthful and you have actually worked for that activity, I think you should write it. Okay. Any questions from your side on this? Because
No, sir.
okay, then we move on to
Position of responsibilities.
yes. So position of responsibility is divided into two parts. One is offices held in NCC and Scouting. So since you did not have any position of responsibility in NCC or Scouting, you can just put a dash there, not applicable.
But position of responsibilities in
In
school?
sports, yes. So students who have participated in NCC could have been a sergeant there, or could have been any other rank holders in the NCC or Scouting. They should write their rank, even if they don't have a certificate to prove that.
Sir, like position of responsibilities in school,
Yeah.
like I was the head girl. So can I mention it here?
Yeah, you can. So you can write head girl in para E and not para D, because para D is specifically for officers held
NCC
in
and Scouting. Okay.
So you write that in para E. Para E is sports, extracurricular group and other fields. So any other field, including head girl of the school, or house captain, or class monitor. So even if one does not have a certificate, one should write whatever position of responsibilities one has held. Even if you were a member of some club, wherein you were, say, a sports member, or in case somebody is a member of environment saving club, and they have held some responsibilities, please write them, because they show your leadership roles played during your student days. Any other doubt there?
No, sir.
Okay, then let's come to para 12, nature of commission. So nature of commission would be as per your advertisement. In the advertisement, because you are going for OTA SSB, so that would be short service. And in case for some candidate it is permanent, then they should write permanent. And choice of service would be Army, Navy or Air Force. In your case, now you're going for the OTA, so it's Army. And for those candidates who are in the going for NDA or going for CDS, they should write preference rather than just choice of service. So they should write their preference, that is say Army, then Air Force, then Navy, or Navy, then Air Force, and then Army. And then we come to para 13. Okay, para 13, number of chances availed for commission in all three services. So this is mainly for screened out and repeater candidates. So since you are a fresher, you should write not applicable, but candidates who have gone twice or thrice should write it however number of times they have been to SSB, so that the selectors there can come to know that you are coming the second time or the third time, and accordingly they will dig out the data and they will ensure that the same set of selectors who had assessed you in your previous attempts do not get to assess you this time. And so any kind of halo or a negative effect is avoided this way by allotting you to a fresh assessor. Okay, so then we come to para 14, which does not apply to you. However, it applies to the screened out and conferenced out candidate. They should write chronologically the number of SSB, the type of entry, the number of SSB, and the place they went to. For example, type of entry may be UES entry or CDS entry. SSB number could be 22 SSB, Bhopal, the date. So sometimes it happens that the candidate does not remember the date, so he can write do not remember. Seeing the type of entry and the number of place and the approximate date also, they can find out when you had come there. So it is more for your benefit only. So if you remember, it is good. If you do not remember, you can even write an approximate month and write do not remember. And very few candidates would remember their chest number or batch number. So it is perfectly okay if you do not remember your chest number and batch number. However, just because you do not remember the minute details does not mean that you will not fill in correct information which you know. Any other question?
That's it, sir.
Okay, I think so. That completes the PIQ form filling. And once again, it was a good session wherein you were very thorough with your PIQ form filling and you did not have any questions. I would request my viewers that in case they have a question, they can write down in the comment box, or they can call me up on 9827058797 and ask me questions related to their PIQ. I'll answer them on WhatsApp. I may not be able to answer them in detail, but do come up with your questions in case you have any. Thank you.